Game number 2. It's been a while, Jacob, since we have seen back-to-back maps inside of the BR6. Typically, we get a good variety, but we're getting a bit of a closer examine onto Coastline today, as it's going to be played in our first 2 games. Now, this was one that really surprised us when we found out. You mentioned there that INTZ, on recent record, haven't really played this map. FURIA as well. It's not a map that we know them to really sort of lean into. What's going on inside of Brazil today?
It's pure opposite day. So it's an overtime victory for Santos over the best team in the world in Liquid, or one of the best teams. And then twice back-to-back Coastline. Literally, Geo's off broadcast for 1 day, and nothing is normal. Like, I do kind of feel bad that we're throwing Riley into the pit already, like so quickly, and nothing is as we've anticipated, like, at all. It's all been pure opposites. But at least for Coastline being played back-to-back, we noticed some very obvious mistakes, I think, on the attacking side for both Santos and Liquid in match number 1. So in this one, we can probably draw more of a direct comparison to how it's being played for both FURIA and INTZ, seeing if those same problems rear their ugly head, or if both teams have different ways that they're going to play this one out.
Seeing very similar bans as well. I'm literally getting hella deja vu right now. So we get the Lion and the Nomad.
We're not just watching the game number 1 over again. What is this?
As producer Simon just press replay. Like, is that what we're dealing with here? We just changed the names. The ban's the same, apart from Jaeger wasn't banned last time. But off the top of my head, I can't remember who exactly it was that was the second defender ban. But we did have the Valkyrie ban in the previous game. So the ban's staying largely the same. FURIA this time starting off on the attack. They're going to be attacking downstairs. Now, INTZ, we've not really been too fair to them. We really had to speed run through that pre-game there, as I think we were trying to catch up for a little bit of extra time spent on map number 1. But just to give everyone at home a little bit of a picture, INTZ made a couple of changes. Most notably, they lost Duds and they brought in Zach. Now, Zach is a player that has been really getting himself involved in terms of kills. He started to fill a little bit of a gap that was maybe previously there on the side of INTZ, and there's some good things that have been done since his pickup onto the side. So I'm expecting INTZ to be able to hang on a map that is known to be relatively gunfight heavy.
It is also worthy to kind of highlight the struggles that both teams have had until through this point. MIBR is on the cusp of getting knocked out of the LATAM finals. FURIA's right above them in 5th place, and INTZ could theoretically catch up with a couple of victories and force MIBR into even more of a disadvantageous position in the standings. So both of them are able to kind of play spoiler, in a sense, to how the LATAM League Finals is going to shake up with those top 6 teams. But it will be INTZ. If they're able to get a victory here, it would be insane for their prospects for the LATAM League Finals. But Fantasy is already about to make things tough. Storming into Blue Bar, getting 2 back-to-back so quick. Hornital trying to respond, but Fantasy just locks on perfectly. But he'll already retreat. He'll stay prone, watch and see if someone flanks through security, and it seems like INTZ already off to a rough start.
It has been known for Fantasy to be called the Brazilian Bolo, Jacob. So that's the sort of level that you're to expect with him and what he's capable of. Currently on a triple kill inside of the round. Vits, sole survivor here for INTZ, and, well, he's going to come under increasing pressure. That's pretty far out onto the main door. Rare looking to try and get the plant down. But seriously, Vits, what are you going to be capable of here? This plant that has been successful, and, well, it was only ever really going to be a pre-fire. High is the player to find that final kill, but honestly, could have been any one of the FURIA gang. Nice quick entry there from Fantasy, giving that opportunity over, and already Coastline playing out a lot differently. We've actually seen a diffuser go down, Jacob.
God, post-plant's not something that you see every day in BR6, apparently, from the limited exposure that I've had of it so far.
Casted 1 game.
I was going to say, everything is literally being flipped on its head from what I know. I'm also trying to, like, disassociate myself from how I understand North America to play, because how often you see NAL teams play maps like this. Sometimes you see very quick rotates, or times where teams who are on a top floor will rotate off of that top floor. at like the halfway point in the round, they'll kind of surrender control and put all of their remaining defenders back on the bomb site waiting for the execute. Not the case here at all, because there are people who will hold some very bold death positions, even if it means they lose their life in the process in order to help waste time on the roam. It's something North America's tried to adapt a little bit, but it was definitely a thought process that was born in regions like Brazil and like Asia Pacific especially. So it's nice to see where some of these other regions are beginning to get some of their strategies from, but it's just like, it's not the same way Siege is played, Jacob. Just rewrite the book in your head for a day.
I mean, you're casting the best region now, so obviously there's like that to sort of contend with.
Yeah.
So I can understand.
Not even in Terra and Kickstarter can say that.
But exactly. I mean, it really is one of those situations where I can understand how it must be difficult to come from NA and to be able to sort of
a little bit, yeah,
understand what's going on here, you know?
Not the end of the world, though. It's nice that there is a little bit of variety. I love how INTZ, even though they weren't able to keep firm control of one room, still seemed like they were trying to respond quickly. Fantasy made his way into Blue Bar so goddamn fast. INTZ had one player all the way from main door who was situated to take him down, and it's just a matter of Fantasy being better and winning his ones. So we'll see if that ends up being the play of the day, if it's mostly a gunfight battle back and forth, like it was for our first Coastline matchup, where, what was it, 45 kills between 3 players on Santos in that last game? It might be the same case here.
Quite possibly. I'm very impressed with that Flores drone from Rare, as he was able to sneak it all the way through. He got into Tarp's window, then through the rotate, and was still able to take down the shield played on Vars. So FURIA choosing to deal with that utility very directly. Hornetau getting himself into a position now to, well, not really do all too much. He will be taken on out. Fantasy, he looks unstoppable today. Picks himself up a double kill. Now looks back toward Aquarium just to make sure that the flank is going to be secure. There's still the potential for a little bit of vertical play here on the side of INTZ. And FURIA, the job isn't done just yet, but again, we see that all-important opening. It's a double kill, and it's got Fantasy's name on it.
Yep, second round in a row. We'll see if that momentum continues. Drunks has gotten fairly aggressive with his hold, and I want to say Flores is aware someone might have made the mud push, and Rare isn't about to stop holding this angle in case there is a flank, but instead he'll move away from it. If Drunks were to go for a run out right now, he could have a free kill, but Rare instead just going to drone back out. It will force Drunks out of position for the moment, but the walls get blasted right in front of his face, and now here comes the pressure. Drunks may be able to get one kill if he can. That would be a really effectful part to stall out this attack, but it will not be the case. It'll still come down to Rare trying to force more pressure and get him out, but just gets a little bit more intel with that last Rotero drone, more flashes. It's all about how long Drunks can hold on to this position, and the answer is not for very long. Rare will finally get the kill off some additional flashbangs through mud. And again, it's Vitz and VNX, neither one of them with the kill to their name so far. No one from FURIA yet has died in this lobby so far through 2 rounds. Can there at least be one exit frag for INTZ? So far, it's not looking like it. VNX can force pressure all the way from blue. Vitz can help to hold a crossfire, but the problem is FURIA have gained all access to top floor. None of these roamers from INTZ decided to situate themselves upstairs, and it won't matter. We could see 2 flawless rounds in a row. No, finally, VNX will at the very least grab one. But Fantasy, pop off, young man. 2 rounds straight where that man has gotten at least 3 kills. And FURIA are looking fantastic.
FURIA looking very impressive indeed today. Not a lot really is standing in their way. I think we've probably seen one of the better examples of why Flores is just such a powerful pick there inside of that round as well. What Rare was able to achieve there in terms of continually gathering information, removing utility, then being able to burn and stun out and give himself the advantage to take the gunfight, and then having a great kit to be able to actually take the engagement with as well. Really was almost the Swiss Army knife there of operators, just able to do it all, and a real big part in how FURIA were able to come away successfully with that round. INTZ struggling to find anything to really stick to the wall here. They're going to be going upstairs into Hooker and Billiards. Only one death on the side of FURIA, as you highlighted, Jacob. Highs has been the only player to fall so far. INTZ aren't really hanging the same way that we were kind of expecting them to on the mechanical side of things.
It's been such a weird day already, which is just like, other than things being not the way in which they were advertised, I think it's just the idea that FURIA is moving really, really quickly in a way that we simply didn't see either Liquid or Santos do in their first game, which is why I like making that comparison between matches 1 and 2 if the maps are the same. It's not like... Internally, I think kind of sometimes as casters, we might groan a little bit because we're like, oh, it's the same map back to back. We want something a little bit different. But it's nice how FURIA are doing things so different from the way that Team Liquid were already through like 2 rounds. And it's very obvious. One player forcing entry and has plenty of cover with so many drones around him. And that's Fantasy. Still, oh, not able to do the same in this round that he did for the previous 2. So there, we're seeing INTZ off of Rome begin to make some massive adjustments. But here's Rare forcing bomb site pressure already. He's got almost all of hookah control. At least 1 kill will happen now as Highs does have a refrag across the map. But it may be a case where Rare can just plant by himself. If they clear bottom floor and make sure that there's not a Nitro downstairs, which there's not, FURIA could very well have a very free plant because INTZ have to rotate all the way back inside.
How is Rare being allowed to stay here? He isn't working off too much information as the last 2 players are going to be approaching Cool Vibes and maybe already rotating into Hooker, as we can see an outline there, but Rare just needs to try and get the plant down here. He's been in the site for a long time, and he's just waiting for his team to sort of catch on up. The plant now will be going down under a little bit of a distraction. There is going to be a yellow ping in the site, so there will be a little bit of information available, but it's not enough to stop the plant from being successful. Now this just needs to be held in a post. Miracle with the cross. Look at that placement and positioning there by Miracle. Able to cover off there from VIP. Find himself 2 really important kills. And honestly, Jacob, if we could not see the names of the players and didn't know which games we were casting, we would have certainly got these last 2 confused, because the way that FURIA are moving is very impressive indeed.
Yeah, Fantasy dies Blacktop, and while he's trying to, I'm assuming whether it be to force pressure from luggage or maybe hold across all the way to VIP, he dies because of a pretty well-timed roam. Rare then sprints into sight. No one couch wall, no one pink bar. There isn't anybody at all billiard side of the bomb site. There's only 1 player, the smoke, inside hookah. Rare sprints in, kills him, and then on an attempted retake, it's almost like INTZ were funneling players back to site 1 by 1 by 1, and they didn't have any kind of response because by the time Rare, or by the time his position was discovered, INTZ come right back in, and there's crossfires held from 90, and all you have to do for FURIA is wait for INTZ to come into your crosshair. That's it. That's the whole story of that round. So kudos to Rare for having the wherewithal and acting on the intel to move right into the site without any contestation. And FURIA, they're trying to, contrary to Liquid, seemingly set a speedrun record for Coastline.
Well, so far it is very speedy indeed. See if they're able to continue, or if eventually we're going to see INTZ step the game up. Really is being contested for heavily on this roam, and I think it's just some of the confidence on the side of FURIA as well. They're not really moving like anything could ever slow them down. You almost get the impression that they really aren't phased by INTZ and what INTZ are trying to bring here. Still, they're paying a little bit of respect, and it's a slow and cautious approach for the meantime. They're only really turning that aggression on when presented with an opportunity. That's always something that's worth bearing in mind, and usually the mark of a team that is in control of what they're actually doing, and this isn't just a burst of energy that they have gained. Still taking the time to drone out and figure just exactly how they want to try and approach these defenders. Eyes on the Gemini, kind of acting like it's the real thing as he looks to get a bit of intel as to the player onto Vars, trying to force him back down those stairs, because without that, you're going to struggle to make an entry in through Hooker.
Seems like INTZ are focused a little bit more on their time-wasting game. FURIA aren't as aggressive, whereas in rounds prior, they probably would have had 1 or 2 people looking for those opening picks. Lenda finally finds the scoreboard, and Hornetau inside Theater can't do anything else in this round. But here we see something a little different. There is a refrag immediately. So now Zach can probably continue a top floor pressure for the moment, but Vitz will be the next one to get forced back away. He'll need to surrender Cool Vibes control and come right back to the site. Lenda upstairs in theater should also be able to start opening up some of those holes, so even if INTZ are rotating back to site, it's still going to create an issue of where exactly can they sit. The Doc won't be able to rotate very efficiently. He'll be the one who may be caught underneath those holes as soon as FURIA begin opening them up, but so far INTZ are solely focused on their roam game right now. How many people are off-site? It's like 3 of them.
Rare looks like he's pondering a hop-in, doesn't he? Looks like that kitchen window is starting to look pretty appetizing to him. He's got a bit to deal with if he does choose to go down that route. FURIA still struggling for this significant entry on into site. Vertical angles are being made, but with a large force of the defenders off-site, it isn't really too much of a concern at the moment, and those angles aren't likely to net or yield any results. We're going to be able to gather a bit of intel. Maybe destroys that Malusi Banshee, but really it isn't going to matter if he doesn't. Going to get himself on in and look to try and attempt to plant some smokes would be very, very valuable right about now, but there aren't any available. Miracle, he has to try and make a push on through, and will do just exactly that, catching players out on the rotate as they move through that main lobby. Now the plant looking to go down. VNX, he has to try and challenge onto this. Time at 0-0, but Highs is coming up with the goods. Drunks finds himself 2. Can't get too ahead of ourselves, though, as the plant has already been confirmed. It's going to be able to juice himself back to just over full health. Plant now being held vertically already. We're hearing X-Karos pellets go off just to give more angles to the players on the side of FURIA. Drunks kind of gives the game away there, but that wall is now being opened, so even though it was reinforced, there's going to be a brilliant line of sight. Drunks, he had a chance for a time, but not anymore. Miracle, what a round he has had, played entirely from that main door.
Very different round from what we saw for the first 3. Still another in FURIA's back pocket. It was much better site take, even if it was coming like way later than anticipated. I was questioning why they're only making a push within like the last 13 seconds, and there were still 2 players in kitchen for INTZ who could very well have held the angle through the bomb chassis or just over like the top left or top right side of the chassis itself, and stopped players coming in through service because both of them had rotated back to that point. But INTZ not able to capitalize on the intel if there was any. But at least for the moment, FURIA keeping that momentum going, even if that round wasn't as quick as the first one.
Well, FURIA currently doing exceptionally well here on the attack on coastline. INTZ really struggling to keep a hold. Double blue bar, well, double blue, double bar. Double blue, double bar? Blue bar and sunrise.
Blue bar.
I've forgotten how to talk over the last couple of days. It's really something that has it's taken a lot of time and effort to form sentences.
You've been up really late, I've been up really early. We can't seem to get rid of one another for the past 3 days anyway.
It really is like that. But it's not that bad though. It's been nice.
Casting. By the way, chat, just in case if you thought the casting life was glamorous, it's only glamorous for the moments where you're on camera and something crazy happens. The rest of the time, I assure you, sometimes it's hell. Especially where sleep is concerned.
Yeah, sleep doesn't exist.
Don't follow your dreams, kids. It's not.
No, follow your dreams.
You sure?
Well, yeah, because then you're sleeping.
Ooh.
Get it? You like that one? I'm all about it.
I want off this show. I want off. Let me leave.
Honestly, we've locked the door. The door gets unlocked after the last game goes down, so you are here for the duration, my friend. But fortunately for you, you've got some of the best Siege in the world to watch while we keep you here. Not quite prisoner, but you're here of your own free will, I guess.
Yeah, it's true. I'm here on an emergency basis, but we're still having fun with it. Just like FURIA very much seem as though they're having fun with how they want these attacks structured. They're not. They are finding times to get aggressive, but it's not as though it's full speed ahead like 100 miles an hour all the time. If their foot was on the gas pedal for whole rounds, then they would probably very easily fall apart, but it does seem as though they're taking a step back and being more measured with things, and even as something on a roam, how do you not finish that? Miracle still finds 2 with a bearing 9, but that's just a case where you need to finish up the roam kill, and it still doesn't let you anything. Hornetau and Drunks answering back, so now finally, at least only for a moment, there was a man count advantage in INTZ's favor, but now it's all on Rare and Lenda. Both of them being very effectual in these rounds so far. Lenda on the buck knocks Zach out of the fray. It's all on Hornetau. He's got 2 different places he can come up, a couple different approaches upstairs, but the issue is now, where is FURIA watching? At least for 2 seconds. Hornetau might be able to take 2 separate 1v1s if Rare is still going to be droning in from Mud. If he doesn't take both players at the same time, then he could very well win the round. So there is a chance. It's just Diffuser's not upstairs yet. So FURIA absolutely are not in a position to go for a plant, but it's still going to be Hornetau forced back away. This is 100% winnable right now if he plays this correctly.
Hornetau really is in a tough spot. There's plenty of intel available here for the side of FURIA, but does he know if the plant is going down? The answer to that question is yes, and the cover wasn't sufficient from upstairs, but Lenda hot drops on in. Eventually, we'll find out that kill. He did have a yellow ping to work from there, and you can almost be certain that there was a bit of a call out off the back of it. Great game sense by Lenda. It was 2 1v1s, but it was a 1 versus 1 that Lenda was able to win out in the end, maintaining FURIA's flawless round streak here.
This one is the polar opposite of the first game in so many ways. If we're looking at a 7-0 for FURIA, that makes their case for a good seeding in the LATAM League Finals even higher. Currently sitting right now for them in 5th place. They have an opportunity to push a little bit higher, maybe even surpass Team 1 in the standings. If they get a full 3 points, then they will be tying Team 1. I do, off the top of my head, which one of them has tiebreaker? Or have they played yet? They have.
Yeah, the tiebreaker is a little bit strange because it's cumulative as well.
That is true.
So it goes off the, I believe, the stage 1 tiebreak and then the stage 2 tiebreak and then round difference if required, but don't hold me to it.
Yeah, okay. It still would be, with a full 3 points, solidifying FURIA as not being a team to worry about in the LATAM League Finals, and it would be solely on MIBR almost at that point, because then it would put them 4 points above MIBR as opposed to only 1, and it means that MIBR's standing would be in serious jeopardy, and a team like Black Dragons, or hell, even at this point Santos, absolutely could surpass them. It's unfortunate for MIBR, but because they're not playing today, their fate is kind of out of their hands, so to speak. Even though there are still several playdays left in BR6 for Stage 2, it's going to be a cause for concern if FURIA net all 3 right here.
Well, FURIA only a couple of rounds away from that being a reality. Last round currently for them to attack, and I kind of guess that INTZ happy about that somewhat, as they probably want to get off this side and see if they can better their fortune on the attack. Hornetau starting things off strong, able to take down Lenda, removes the Zephyr on that entry. It's an entry that Lenda must have been making solo, as there's been no initial response here. Strange place to fall, I guess, just rushing straight on into Sunrise and trying to find an advantage in toward Kitchen, but still not an advantage that will happen. Fancy. How does he do it? Takes down Zach there, comes away with a shred of health, but still a kill that has been responded.
6 kills within those first 2 rounds, and he has kind of slowed down a little bit, but the slack has definitely been picked up by Rare and by Miracle, at least from a kill point of view, and even players like Lenda and Highs, guys who had some really good performances at the 6 Invitational. Not the end of the world, neither one of them is super crazy in this game because the rest of the team is absolutely carrying, at least for right now. Minute and a half still to go. Fantasy and the rest of FURIA can clear these roamers out all day, all night. There's only one to worry about on the floor above the bomb site. Actually, no. Bomb site is top floor, but there may only actually be one player situated close to couch wall. So FURIA will throw the Gemini right into the laser gate. I can't do the accent as effectively as Ace. I'll let other Brits handle that honor. But the Aqua take is looking very likely for FURIA. Miracle can probably hold a crossfire in case someone wants to look that way through the drone hole. Drunks has it read beautifully. So now Miracle can't hold the crossfires. Probably still die with X-Kairos in his pocket too. So FURIA finally down by a man, and INTZ might be able to stop the bleeding here.
FURIA have a couple of problems to solve here in a very short amount of time. They're going to try and nade through and remove any players that are looking to challenge from Hooker. There's plenty of holes inside of the wall, but the best thing to do is just to open the whole thing up. That's exactly what's going to happen there with the Flores drone. FURIA, big frag in onto VNX. That removes the player below, and it removes one nitro cell. The plant being baited. FURIA now look to try and stick that plant again, but Drunks, such a key player. The diffuser cold inside a default. Hornetal left as the last player standing. The beeping nitro cell will be no concern to anybody. Hornetal wins the engagement on the window, and the second as well. Takes down the final two players. Removes Fantasy from that window, and it's only a swing away there. INTZ finally get themselves around on the board.
Hornetal can't win the 1v2 in the previous round and says, screw it, I'll make up for it here. That's a nice play. He does rotate all the way from his roam back upstairs. He holds pink bar side waiting for the cross. There's nothing he can really do aside from swing the window. He hears the rappel. He's got the positional advantage, and Habana doesn't exactly know where to look. Or sorry, no, the Ash rappelling on the window doesn't exactly know where to look. And it's a good play overall. The only thing... I don't mean to take away the good stuff from a round one from a specific team, but here's the problem. It still came down to a 1vx scenario in which to win it. It was one player getting 2 kills and getting a round dub that was otherwise lost. So that's just speaking to how disjointed and how frayed, I suppose, INTZ's defenses looked overall. Where you can run a lot of default setups, you can take some time to prepare some things for this map. It might be that INTZ very well could have simply lost this map this match in the ban phase. It's a coastline, which they haven't played over the course of the past 3 months. FURIA have played it against W7M in BR6 already in this stage, and played it 3 times during the Invitational against some very strong contenders internationally. It just looks like INTZ, if they had gone to any other map, maybe they would have had a chance.
It's kind of nice to see FURIA be able to bring INTZ to a map that maybe they didn't expect, but obviously FURIA having that confidence to move through based off whether it be recent international play on the map or just a good set of practice and a nice couple of weeks of scrimming the map and getting it prepared for this play day. But whatever it might be, it's certainly something that has worked quite well for FURIA, and they've come away with the majority of the rounds out of that first phase. Now the things have switched around though. Hornetal, the star player from the previous round, has been taken out here, but Rare has also fallen. Rare went off to a pretty scary start. Has since picked up a couple of deaths along the way, but still had a massive impact on the attack, particularly playing Flores. This is where we're really going to see INTZ pressured now though, as everything is going to be on their terms in terms of time, and they are a team that have struggled with time previously. And if that is something that is exasperated now, as FURIA are going to really make them play and push for every single inch of the map, then potentially it could be quite difficult for INTZ to try and get any significant advantage back or even a couple of rounds on the board. Because for the meantime, it doesn't look like FURIA are giving anything up.
Not giving anything up, but INTZ also aren't claiming a lot of map control for themselves. It's not a very aggressive top floor presence. It is still a case where there are roamers that can get picked off individually, so Lambda can't do anything else on Wamai, at least for this round. But it's still a case where, like you mentioned last match, that 6th man in this case is FURIA having the time on their side. Almost no one at this stage is even in the building. There's still VNX outside security. One's on big window rappel for the Ash, waiting to hold something, but that's just easy pickings for Fantasy as he goes downstairs. Here's the rappel and gets an easy kill for free. And now it seems like everyone will just simply come right back to site and wait for the approach, but it still comes down to where INTZ are going to push this from. Fitz will maintain diffuser control. It seems like it may very well come from Aqua if he's still on the roof, judging at least from where the gunshots themselves are coming from. Will be another rappel on big window, trying to like hold a cross angle, and it seems as though everyone from FURIA is aware that it's going to be a south side take. VNX does grab Fantasy, and the Nitro Cell will be prepped, so Miracle can stop the plant if it happens, but no, he'll chuck it back towards the window. It will fall down, but the diffuser, an attempted plant, it's now down. It's all up to Miracle to try to stop this off the cross. He still will. This could be yet another kill for FURIA. All comes down to one repel. Miracle times that one beautifully. FURIA stall out INTZ expertly, and they sit on match point. Miracle has zero business winning that round.
What a performance there from Miracle. Hanging in when it matters. Hits the long-range shot, switch to the shotgun. It's just a beautiful combination there, and you got a feel for the repelling player. It's one of those situations where you don't do anything, and you know there's an argument to say you could have done something, but the most likely outcome there is that you're going to get shotgunned in the face as soon as you try and repel on in, and that's exactly what we saw happen there. FURIA match point here in what has been a bit of a speed run on Coastline. Nothing really significant standing in their way. A couple of rounds that have come down to the wire in terms of 1vx situations, but on the whole, it has been a game that FURIA have led from the start. And they're looking to try and take it as a clean 7-1. They're going to be picking Kitchen as their defensive stronghold for this potential final round.
Do you think FURIA could have possibly had any momentum from winning Gamers Without Borders yesterday?
I mean, possibly. Could that be like the entire reason as to why they're here?
Maybe.
It's a frag-heavy map. They've been playing very sort of ranked play style. In that, it's really come down to a lot of gun skill. And everything was just getting swung, everything was getting peaked. And I don't really want to say it, but Liquid kind of maybe didn't drop that mentality enough. Because it's some of the things that we saw them sort of doing in that previous game were things that you would expect them to be doing in a more casual game, you're right? You know, not droning as much, not playing as a team. FURIA, they've got all that teamwork element and all that sort of locked in, but everyone's really hitting the shots as well.
Yeah, not to harp too much on Team Liquid, but the way FURIA have been playing this is what we absolutely would have expected from a team like Liquid. It's just a shame that it comes on Game 2 and not Game 1, and it's only a shame for Liquid's sake, because now you have to live with Santos having defeated you in overtime. But it's something that you can absolutely live down. It will come down to how FURIA decided to just stall out INTZ for one more round, and so far it's going great. Hornetal, one of the top 2 performers for INTZ, can't play anymore in this round, so VNX opting to stick the Dokkaebi. We haven't talked too much about operator selection because it is Coastline. There aren't too many things that, you know, deviate from standard. You can play very frag-heavy operators or ones that just give you more intel. With no Lion, playing Dokkaebi is nice, but still other Ronies to contend with. Down falls your entry fragger in Zach now. And it just seems like FURIA, they're outclassing INTZ at every twist and turn. Comes down to individual gunfights. FURIA will win them every time. Rare knocks Vince into the grave, and it's all on Drunks and VNX to force a comeback.
Ooh, Drunks will find himself one onto Fantasy. 2 of the players there from FURIA getting a little bit eager in that peak. Logic Bomb Call assisting in that regard as well. But still, it's a drop in the ocean as to what has to happen here from INTZ. Another Logic Bomb Call, but Drunks, to my ears, isn't going to be able to hear anything off the back of it, as we can see from the silhouettes that everyone is going to be playing a little bit deeper toward this east side. Now VNX is going to try and make an entry here, but we all know what the Roni is capable of at close range. It's very unlikely for Highs to lose that one, and he will sit VNX down in the dirt. Drunks now the last player standing. Currently 1 versus 4. A minute left. Plenty of time, but no options. Lender is the player to pick the final kill. FURIA, what a result. 7-1 here over Santos on Coastline.
Well, that one definitely went as expected. It took 2 rounds, but we did get the overall better team in that match, winning it decisively. Rare pulling out the MVP status in that game, but it did come down to the early impact created by guys like Fantasy and Miracle on that attack. Their attack was simply a masterclass. There really isn't another way to describe how they played that one, especially on defense. Even though we only got to see 2 defensive rounds from FURIA, it was still a case where Roamers won everything, and there simply wasn't a response at all from INTZ over the course of that